Hello everyone, welcome to Science and Sorcery. We are playing a different game than usual. We're not playing D&D. We are playing May You Fish, Festing Times, a new game by W.H. Arthur and illustrated rather wonderfully by Carol Wu. We are missing one of our regulars this week. We are missing Dagmar. Dagmar's not been feeling too great, so we've given her the weekend off. But we hope you feel really much better soon, Dagmar. But it means we get to play some different games. So this game came out really very recently. And I'm really excited for us to get to play it. How are you all doing, by the way? Are you well, folks? Are you well?
Awesome. I'm doing so good.
I'm feeling avian as fuck.
Damn.
What about you, Alex? Can you match that level of energy?
No, that was why I was just like, can I? No, I'm good. I'm fine.
I've just bounced back from a cold, so I'm riding that high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I had
invincible.
an ear infection.
What?
Very good.
We're all in an interesting mood today, so we'll see how this game goes. This is all pre-recorded, so we won't be chatting with you in the chat if you're watching. But hello, welcome in. Lovely to have you here. Any announcements I want to make is that next week we also will not be back with D&D. We will be playing a different game, so keep an eye out for any thoughts on that. And this coming Friday, we have our monthly one-shot, which is The Fall of the House of Undoing, which is a partnership with the Anic Garden, the Poison Garden, which is really exciting. It's going to be GM'd by the absolutely wonderful Gnome Anne. Rachel's going to be there, and we'll be talking this week about the other players, but it's so much fun. I'm really excited for that game as well. That's as much as I'm going to say. We're going to dive right into the game. This world that we exist in is a world of anthropomorphic birds, and the story takes place in the Avian Empire under the rule of the Emperor Tyrannus. And the birds in this world go to work in factories and offices. Capitalism exists here, and they have hobbies whilst they're not on the clock. We all do things outside of work, including going fishing. A few years ago, the blue-collar birds, the white-collar birds, and the birds with collars of all colours united in an attempt to overthrow the empire. The revolution, unfortunately, ultimately failed, with the leading rebels either jailed or executed. And no one talks about the revolution anymore. And we are all going to be playing as anthropomorphic birds, going on a fishing trip. Now, is it really just a fishing trip? We'll find out as we go on. So we are going to be doing quite a lot of character discussions as part of this game. It's very much a collaborative game. We're not trying to beat each other. We're trying to get the best possible fishing trip we can. I am going to come to one of my other players to describe their character first and tell us a little bit about who you are. We'll go backwards in the realm of enthusiasm that we had last time. So, Alex, we're going to come to you first. Can you tell us about your character and tell us a little bit from the playbook about who you are?
Yes. So I am playing Bastien. He is an elderly night heron. And the thing with night herons in this game is I was an engineer during the revolution, building and maintaining machines for the rebellion.
Lovely. We'll go to Khalil next.
I'm going to be playing Scooper. Scooper is a pelican with a big throat pouch and an even bigger heart. I am a sociable water bird. I was an organizer during the revolution, rallying the other birds to the cause. And I'm collecting hearts. Oh yes, we should say we're collecting cards during this game, and each of us has a favoured suit. And if we collect a certain number of cards in that suit, I think it's 3, or we collect 3 consecutive numbers of any suit, then we catch something on our fishing rods.
Let's hope that happens.
Yeah.
Rachel, what about you?
I will be playing Nella, the cormorant. I am a complacent sea raven. I was a spy for the rebellion, sabotaging the empire from within. And my favourite suit is clubs. She's having a brat summer. It is what it is.
And that leaves me with my final character. I am playing Bert the Osprey. I am a strong raptor. Also a water bird. Was a fighter for the rebellion, defending other birds with my strength. And my favoured suit is spades. So that is our 4 fishing birds for this game. But before we actually go fishing, where are we going? Where does our fishing trip take place? What do we reckon?
I feel like with an osprey, a pelican, and a cormorant, I don't know much about night herons. I assume they're kind of, freshwater. But the other 3, they seem like they would probably mostly hang out, in the sea fishing.
I mean, all 3 of them are both freshwater and saltwater.
Okay.
Oh, versatile.
I was gonna say.
But what about like an estuary then? Somewhere
Yeah.
that's like on the edge of a river in the sea.
Oh,
I think, yeah.
some nice mud flats.
Yeah,
It might work
Cool.
for a heron as well. That's like a good place.
yeah.
Maybe we're on a little fishing boat, like just next to the estuary, so that those of us who prefer deeper water can go port side, and those of us who prefer a mud flat can go starboard side.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
Are those boat words?
They
Yes,
are
those
boat
were
words.
both. I don't know if they were used correctly, but they were definitely boat words.
That's a boat
You have to
fact from
roll.
Science and Sorcery.
Well, do you have to roll for boat knowledge again? I forgot.
Pilot groundcraft? No.
This game works really well for like knowledge that I have and knowledge that I know that Alex will be loving to have. That we're both very keen on ornithology. So I'm really excited. And ospreys are absolutely my favorite bird in the whole world. So I'm really excited to get to play
Aw.
as one. So we are in this little boat that is on an estuary, like half into the sea and half out. So we've got that kind of mixing of waters.
Brackish.
Yeah, brackish. What? Who owns the boat? Who's the boat?
Sorry, just to go back to a Brack Summer.
Brack Summer.
Yes, correct.
There we go.
Also, the caption said brick summer, which is a very different summer.
Oh no, that's a revolutionary summer.
That was a few years ago.
These summers, someone's getting in a brick themselves. I think potentially Scooper seems like the type of guy who would have a boat to take his buddies out on, because he's an organizer. He likes to kind of be a social hub, I think. Unless anyone else thinks that they might own the boat.
I would pitch that you own it, but you got me to fix it first. Because
Oh,
you just-
absolutely. Yeah. Scooper doesn't really know how the boat works. He just likes hanging out on it.
Yeah. Yeah, could you fix my boat?
Like, how'd you make it start? Like, I've pulled the string on the engine, and it just makes this weird noise, like a kind of.
So you haven't put any fuel in it.
Oh, where's that go? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like that. Yeah. Bastian has been like very patiently helping his buddy Scooper out with his boat that Scooper bought on a whim. Scooper was like, "Oh my
Nellis
god,
was-
that's a bargain!"
Then it's just smoking a cigarette on the side.
And I guess I provide the bait. So I'm bringing along like a big bag of worms, occasional little bits of like cheese, little cubes of cheese that we can stick on the end of the hook.
Fish like cheese?
Yeah, yeah.
Depends
yeah,
on the fish.
Well, it depends on the fish, but you can
Wow.
you can use like cheese.
So dairy does go with fish.
It does, despite what everyone says. And I like
Next, you'll be saying they're like red wine.
I was gonna say I'm bringing along red wine.
Oh,
We're out on a
Well, the
boat. Let's
question
get
is-
some wine.
What is the name of the boat?
That is important.
The New Dawn.
Pippin thinks that it's important as well.
Yeah,
got
Pippin
that
does think.
background.
We have a special guest star Pippin hiding at my feet.
The New Dawn.
The
did you
Pippin.
say?
Oh, we could call it the Pippin.
What about
Yeah.
Pippin's New Dawn?
Pippin's New Dawn. Yeah.
No. Pippin's New Dawn. Okay. So we load into the boat. I would imagine it's kind of early morning when like the sun's just come up over the horizon. Managed to get the fuel in. Takes a couple of times to turn on that engine.
Jinx.
It eventually kicks into life. I pour out a red wine for myself and Nella, whilst the other two are arguing over the engine starting, and we head off out into the middle of this river onto the sea estuaries area.
I imagine that the boat is riding like a little bit kind of back heavy in the water, partly because there's two of us in the back, and I think Scooper is probably quite large, but also because Bert probably had to bring quite a lot of wine, because Scooper I think is quite a drinker. Like he kind of just opens up that big kind of bill of his with that big flappy throat sack and just kind of like glug, 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 glug.
I think we're gonna have to ban the phrase "big flappy throat sack." That's not sticking around.
You played your X cards. Yeah.
Okay, I need to actually look up what it actually is called.
Yeah, what is that called?
What is it called?
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah,
I'll do.
It'll have its own specific name. Who was the last person to see a bird in real life? Out of game.
I made kind of semi-hostile, semi-friendly, respectful eye contact with a seagull this morning at a train station.
Okay, can anyone beat that?
That was probably about 9 a.m.
I probably saw a kite about half an hour ago when I walked the dog.
Okay, well,
Bing,
I think
bing, bing.
Alex wins then. And then we'll go back towards Khalil. We'll go second. And then, Rachel, you've left the house today. I haven't. So you can go third, and I'll go last in terms of the order.
So, anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise on the screen. And the way that this game works, or if you are watching along at home, is that we have all of our own playbooks. We are trying to collect cards. And in order to do that, we have a list of questions that we can go through in order to try and do that. And the way that we start is on our left-hand column. There's a list of questions, and Alex, you need to start with number 1 on that left-hand column. So what does it say?
So, my first question is, how did you discover your skill at engineering? And I think Bastian was one of those people who was sort of like born into like a family who owned a garage, just like or mechanic, and just kind of was kind of left to his own devices while like loitering around the back while the family was like repairing like cars and tractors and things.
And like, what made you decide that you wanted to continue that ability through life? Like, get into the world, the role of engineering?
I think there's I think a complex mix of sort of momentum that was already there. It's just like when you have a skill that you're good at, it might not necessarily be your passion, but like it's just like, well, I'm too good at this to not do it when it's like the easy path.
That's why I'm a scientist. Yeah. I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm not good at it.
No.
Does anyone have any questions to add to our first question?
So, what sort of things were you working on? Like, what was there anything that that you were more interested in working on, or something that kind of really leveled up your skill?
I think a lot of what was being worked on was like say like sort of agricultural vehicles or like people's sort of I picture that Bastian grew up in a sort of fairly rural sort of location, so just like people's pickup trucks or that kind of stuff. But I think he did spend a few years. I want to say he found like an old like what are they called? The things which you use steamroller. That's the one. Just an old vintage steamroller. Just like this is such a weird. Pip doesn't approve of that. An old vintage steamroller. And...
really doesn't approve of that.
No.
X card.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I will.
Okay. with that, we then draw a card from our deck of cards. And our first card is the Queen of Clubs. That is your first card, Alex. So keep a note of that. I know that you've got the Queen of Clubs. And clear that from the deck into our discard pile. Khalil.
So my first question is, how did I discover my talent as an organizer? Was every birdie drawn to my charisma? Was I a great public speaker? And I just want to draw attention here to the masterful writing on this game. Every birdie. Mwah. So I think that one day there was whilst out fishing near the shore, there was a shoal of fish, and quite a big shoal of fish, and it was attracting a fair few birds who were trying to take advantage of this bounty, but they weren't acting in a coordinated way. And one time when Scooper tried to dive down into this shoal, but it was too diffuse, he went down and he saw that actually below the water there were other animals trying to go for these fish. There were a couple of seals and a couple of maybe a pod of dolphins. And I think Scooper kind of in that moment realized that if he could get all the birds and the kind of underwater mammals to work together, they could kind of corral this shoal of fish into what's called a bait ball, which is basically corralling them into this tight sphere of fish where whoever dives in, you can't miss. You're going to get a mouthful of fish, whatever happens. And I think that made him realize the power of getting people to see the power of collective action. Also that there are some people who, maybe I'll say this in the first person, maybe most people went home happy and fat from that day, but not everyone can stick up for themselves, and maybe Scooper scooped a couple of fish that other people had earmarked for themselves or already had in their beaks. But it's a tough world out there. You got to be prepared. No dead weight in the movement.
And how does that manifest then in terms of how the revolution played out for you?
So realizing the power of getting people to organize and work together, even if Scooper did occasionally, throw his weight around a little bit. I'm going to stop using the third person. Sorry, it's more fun if I am Scooper. Yeah, I was throwing my weight around a little bit, but it's a tough thing we're trying to do. And so, I would try to, get people to unionize in their factories and in their workplaces, and sometimes the odd scab needed to know the error of their ways, but and people needed to know that it was Scooper who organized everyone. I'm not saying I'm a 100% altruist, but I can get people to do what we need to do to get things to happen.
Really enjoy the image of this pelican. Does anyone else have a point that they would like to ask or raise, or what they might be doing in this moment with Scooper downing wine on the boat?
Yeah, Scooper hasn't got his fishing rod out yet. He's like in between glugs of like downing a bottle of wine into his, and it's actually called a throat pouch, not a sack. Sorry. And he's like, oh yeah, do you guys remember that time when there was like my uncle was, his boss fired him because he wanted a raise, and he wanted to have like breaks and stuff, and so then I got everyone down at the canning factory to just stop canning, and then later on we started using those cans to make, I'm not gonna say bombs, but bombs, you know what I mean?
I think Nella's just watching, like with her cigarette in one wing and her glass of wine in the other, just like a kind of nostalgic, like this guy. You know?
So I feel
This
like you've
guy.
told us this story a lot of times,
Mhm. Yes.
particularly when wine's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I just imagine Nella as well. You're just standing with your wings out, like really wide, like a cormorant does.
Yeah.
Like that. You're just like on the edge of the boat with your like wings out.
I think the
Yeah.
boat is rocking slightly because Scooper is gesticulating as he's talking.
But
Whilst-
nary a drop of wine is dropped by anybody. By the rock.
Correct.
I
The boat's rocking, but the meniscus of the wine glass is just steady.
also, how do like the mechanics of how do we drink wine with a beak? That's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, for you it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I ask a question of Scooper then? It's like, how do you feel like your role as someone who wasn't afraid to take for themselves has kind of landed you in a slightly cushier place after the revolution? Given that
Well,
you're
you know, I'm not going to say I didn't feather my nest. Like, obviously I had full faith in the revolution, but you got to prepare for every eventuality. We had enough mutual funds to get the supplies we needed for the revolution. That wasn't what made it fail. Anyway, you're welcome for the fishing trip on my boat and everything.
Scooper, when you're not picking scabs or filling your throuch, what do you do?
somehow
What's
worse than
Scooper's
either.
hobby? I just wanted to say throuch. I'll be so real.
So what was your question, Nella?
When you're not unionizing and scaring people off, what do you do? Do you have like a secret hobby?
Yeah, I do.
Would you like to say what it is?
It's a secret.
Not yet. Okay.
So are we doing this in character, or are we doing this kind of third person looking in?
I think as character works really well. If we feel we can.
Okay,
embody
so
it.
if Nella asks Scooper, and Scooper's going to be like, Nella, everyone knows you were a spy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
I just old habits die hard. I don't. Loose beaks sink sheiks.
Well, you got to take care of your chic. Yeah.
With you talking about feathering your nest and like making sure that everyone kind of knows that they need to bring something towards the revolution. I feel that Bart is probably being quite silent. I think he is quite like a quiet figure that's just like sat down and thrown out a cast and is just kind of listening quite intently. Isn't going to say anything what you've said so far, but is listening intently. And if you were to look his direction, he's watching you quite straight ahead.
I don't think I'm looking at Bert. I think I'm engaging in a bit of light kind of ribbing with my friend Nella.
Okay. In which
Yeah.
case, we'll draw your card. And you get the 10 of spades.
Okay.
Is that clubs?
Oh, it's clubs, says
Clubs.
clubs. Yes, 10 of clubs.
Yeah. Put some respect on my clubs.
The camera turns round to look at Nella, our former spy.
Yeah. So Nella's first question is, what makes you well adapted to the avian society? For example, are you educated and well spoken, or do you play the role of the sycophant well? And I think Nella's kind of way of, having influence or getting into odd places comes from the fact that she is a singer. So the Song of the Cormorant is described as sounding like a pig grunting. So I think her singing is kind of like a really old timey, like jazz or blues, like raspy, like like there's something about it that like draws you in, and it feels countercultural enough for like the Empire to feel like, yeah, we're the good guys, like this is our culture. But on the real, like she's singing about how much this shit sucks. So yeah, she's just like pig grunting through the revolution. I think that's what makes her well adapted. She, has that kind of grassroots background, but there's a certain allure to the weirdness of her act.
And does that kind of singer background, was that used as like part of your spy past?
I think definitely. I think there was some, conversations going on in dark, shady rooms in clubs that Nella was, very much a part of. But when she's not on stage, I reckon she's probably the type that is quite quiet and reserved. So at that point, she's in the room, all she has to do is listen and then take that back with her.
I guess thinking about that then, and thinking about the quiet of the morning, and like watching Super quite intently, but also like feeling the weight of the fishing rod just in case there's a bite, I will just like grunt out the side of my mouth towards Nella to be like, any chance of a song?
You don't come out on a fishing boat to sing. You come out for some peace and quiet.
Oh, shanties are always welcome.
I don't do shanties, but you know that. I've told you so many times before.
Well, maybe towards the end, maybe when we head back inshore and we'll have a meal.
Let's see. Absolutely. Let's get some fish on deck, and then I'll see what I can treat you to.
Always nice to have a song while we're cooking.
Indeed. Helps the work go faster.
Now, pass that wine.
Haven't you had enough?
I'll tell you when I've had enough. You're standing like the cops.
I will just like, as you gesticulate, like stand up very quickly and just like move the steering, because like the boat has started to head towards like a reed like bed.
Yeah.
Let's back out towards the middle of the river. Would you like me to draw your card?
I would, please.
We have the King of Spades.
Why am I the only one that is not getting clubs? Yeah.
After like turning the boat back towards the middle, Bert will go back to his fishing rod, which has been like balanced on the edge of the boat. Still nothing coming from it, and his first question is, how did you discover your ability as a fighter? And as an osprey, life starts as a fight. Very, very early on, like you're born into this world with 3 or 4 other siblings, and from the moment you're born, you're fighting to survive. You're like waiting to hope that like mum or dad comes home with a fish, something that can keep you going just for a couple of hours. And I think at the very beginning, Bert was ruthless and knew that if he wasn't a fighter, then this night might be his last. And so isn't proud to talk about it and wouldn't bring it up, but did throw his sibling out of the nest in order to make sure that he was able to get enough of a fill to make it to the next morning one day. So yeah, life starts as a fight, and it's always been that way. But right now is a little bit more rest.
So as I was saying to my siblings the other day,
just like thinking of the pain of being a child.
I have a character question. So, we've heard that Scooper was during the revolution was thinking about what comes next, whether we succeed or fail. He was feathering his nest. Is Bert the type of person who like treats every fight as it's their potentially their last fight, and so doesn't think about the future as much?
Yeah, I would say that Bert very much lives day to day. And yeah, like every fight is the same level of importance. There's no small fights. Everything matters. And whether that is like the fight against a sibling or against an empire or against like whatever is at the end of this fishing rod, they're all on the same level.
So what do you do to kind of de-stress or wind down in between fights then? Because that's quite a, tense place to be resided in the majority of the time.
Bert likes to read.
Oh.
So
Got great eyesight.
got great eyesight, and it's still holding. Even though he's getting a bit on now, a bit more grizzled, but enjoys reading. Very much historical fiction. But also thinking about he's also strangely getting into like solar punk, thinking about optimistic futures, but knows that that's all just a lie.
Do you think that Bert got into the revolution because he liked fighting, or which came first, the fighting or the revolution, I guess is the question.
I'm going to hold back on an answer to that question because there's another question that might come up where that would be more relevant. But yeah, hold that one in case it comes up. Yeah, that's Bert. He's starting to light up a cigarette as well.
I think Nella asked, so you reading anything good?
Smoking.
Fuck yeah. Bird's got a smoke,
Smoking
man.
with a beak, like.
Yeah. I think Bastian has a pipe.
Amazing.
Nella smokes Vogues, long and skinny.
I think Scooper has like chewing tobacco that he just like pops into his pouch.
Oh god, there's just like a ball of it like that.
Occasionally he spits out a huge glob of brown goo.
No.
Swirling around with all that red wine on your throat.
Aromatic.
And fish.
Yeah.
I will draw my card. That is a 7 of clubs. 7 clubs. Lovely. So nothing is biting yet. It's still early. There's no fish coming forward for us all. Quiet. Does anyone want to do anything before we move on to the next round of turns?
I think I'm just gonna carefully move the wine away from the engine, while it's being just gesticulated at, and just you can see like the sort of throbbing veins in my forehead. It's just like, don't you?
Scooper is like almost about to pour some wine into the fuel tank.
Yeah.
And Bastian's like.
Actually, on that note, then seeing you like moving the wine away, I will like take out a cool box, and just like pour all the wine into it, like a big box of wine now. So you can just like scoop, rather than have
Scooper will scoop.
Nice.
But only with the glass, I will say.
No.
Just like mid.
Yeah, I think maybe Scooper goes to scoop, and Bert just goes. No. Like hand on forehead.
Just remember that sharing that, and
Yep.
but not sharing in any of your chewing tobacco, which is what will happen if you do that.
Sure. Yeah. It's for everyone. Yep. Remember that. Yep. Everyone's wine. Yeah.
My eyes don't leave you. I'm just gonna still like watching. And that would bring us to Alex again for another go.
Okay, so at this point in the game, we have 2 columns of questions. We can either sort of do the left column in order, or pick one at random from the right column. Well, not at random, but so let's have a look. I'm going to go with one of the other birds saved your cloaca in the revolution. What happened? And I think this feels like a Bert thing.
Yeah, Bert seems like a serial cloaca saver.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like
He's got a Rolodex full of them.
yeah,
Sorry.
nasty.
Keep it on speed dial.
So let's do the terrible French accent.
Ring cloaca.
So Bastien was at his mechanic shop. He was repairing various transport vehicles, and the forces of the Empire. Just Rachel's face. And the forces of the Empire had got a lead on where we were. And long story short, Bert beat the shit out of them when they came to take us in.
Do you bring this up?
For the sake of the narrative of this game, sure. Let's say. So, but do you remember when you beat the shit out of those two guys who came to my garage?
Which two? That's not. That doesn't really narrow it down.
I mean, normally it was more, but like one of them had like that big, like trench coat, with like lots of, like, but he had tons of medals on it. Like he was.
I do hate a trench coat. Not a good look for anyone.
He's like, he was one of those guys. He's like, he clearly wanted everyone to know how special he was. You just. I liked the bit where you grabbed a fistful of his medals and shoved them in his own beak. That still warms my heart to this.
I think I still have one of them, and I will like fish into my bag, and like pull out like purple heart.
Yeah, that guy was such a fucking twat.
I mean, that could be his. That could be someone else's. I'm not sure, but I mean, hey, if it helped you, then that's
just and now twats like that are still in charge, and we're still underneath.
Oh no, we're not underneath. We're all on the same level. They just have the upper hand right now. Someone will come along.
Things will change, but I wouldn't have liked to smack them in the face right now.
Maybe one day. What's the mechanic?
So that is I give you one of my cards.
Ooh.
So I have one card, so you can have my Queen of whatchamacalls.
Spades.
Same one as you. Yes.
Perfect. Queen of spades. I have a spade. Yay!
It was clubs, right?
Oh yeah, clubs. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of us have clubs apart from the person who wants clubs.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and you just gave that to Sam, did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Perfect. I will know to give it away when I can. Lovely. With that, we would move on.
Do we take another card?
No.
Or does okay.
No.
Oh, do you only take a card after the left column of questions?
I believe so. Let me just double check there.
I think you take a card after everyone.
Do you take a card after everyone? Oh yeah, you draw a card. Yeah. Draw a card. Boom.
Now I have what you need.
So 6 of spades. Cool. Hello.
So, in my answer to my first question, I kind of accidentally answered my second question in my left-hand column, which is what incited you to use your skill for the revolution. And I talked about my uncle getting laid off, and helping them to unionize. And then when the revolution started, like I can expand on that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so it started off just helping out my uncle, and then when things started to gain momentum and it started seeming like it was more than just our town, and it started seeming like maybe the Emperor Tyrannus's forces couldn't necessarily hold us back. And I was like, okay, maybe the wind's blowing in our direction, and maybe it's time to join this migration. So I didn't want to be the only one joining. So I, got my friends, got my family, helped them organize their communities, their workplaces. And then when the momentum kept building, that was just, that's a rush. When you're getting people together, and they're getting people together, and you're all doing stuff, and your goal is in sight. That was special. I mean, until it all came crashing down, obviously. But yeah, that was pretty special. And
So
during this time, I'm like baiting my hook. Ow!
Yeah,
Jeez!
Careful with the hook. You've already had quite a lot of work.
Come on, man. You've seen me drink. This isn't drinking. Like, you know when I'm drunk.
I think that's the point. Is I do know, and I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. Look, I'm not gonna scoop. I promise. I promised you I wasn't gonna scoop.
But that's I trust you. You won't scoop. You...
No, that wasn't a scoop. That was me spitting some tobacco over the side.
Oh, okay, good.
It just floats in this ball away.
Yeah, there's a couple of fish like tentatively taking a little nibble of it, and then like one of them goes, ugh, and the other one goes, go back for more. Then goes back for more. Then goes back for more.
A third one dies.
Yeah. Oh, go on. Scoop.
Does that count? Can we keep that one?
I think he could just eat that one, to be honest.
Also, I'm not sure you want to eat one that's been eating tobacco.
Probably for the.
I'll try it. Try the thing once.
you put its tail in your mouth, light its face.
Yes.
Just smoking a mackerel.
Yeah.
Smoke mackerels, I think.
Yeah, delicious. Yeah, I was going to say have it.
That's how that works, definitely.
That's where kippers come from.
I would draw your card, I think.
Yeah. Draw me a card. More clubs.
4 of clubs.
Yeah, more.
Okay.
So, Bella's smoking a mackerel. And
I am.
Your go.
So I think in the playbook it says to draw a card first. I think that makes sense because that will influence what I do next.
There you go.
Oh,
that does make sense.
Queen of Spades. Queen of Spades. Oh, that's interesting. Because now I've got the King of Spades and the Queen of Spades. So if I could get. Sorry. I'm just thinking. Okay. Whose card do I want?
Well, we all have clubs that you could take if you want.
Except me.
Yeah, apart from Alex now.
Alex, yeah.
Okay, I want to take a card. Okay, so one of the other birds caused me great distress in the past. What happened? Do you still hold a grudge? So that is going to be Scooper.
I'm personally shocked.
And I think Scoop is well aware of the fact that I was a spy and well aware of the fact that I was trying to gather information to feed back to the rebellion, and probably was a contact that I used quite frequently. But then at one point, got drunk and almost like blew my cover.
Well, you know, Scooper's got a big mouth.
He's got a big mouth. Yeah, I think Scooper probably got drunk with the wrong person and let on that maybe I've got an ulterior motive rather than just performing in the Empire bars. And I think I did hold a grudge for a long time. But once kind of the whole rebellion failed anyway, I think Nella got hit with a big amount of just nihilism, just like doesn't matter, nothing matters anymore. So now there's probably some forgiveness.
Plus, Scooper's got a boat now.
Scooper's got a boat, exactly. So, yeah,
Okay.
I think there's a lot of acceptance. Everyone's got their flaws. We all did our best, and hey, didn't work out.
Yeah, I think maybe as Scooper is baiting his hook, and kind of tips, like not drunk, but like, you know, slightly tipsily, being like, you know what, Nella, I know I've said it before, but like I'm sorry about the whole, like, you know, thing. And I know literally 5 minutes ago I yelled at the top of my voice that you used to be a spy, and I said that I would stop doing that.
Yeah, you did.
But this time,
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna stop doing it. I'm really sorry. I'm gonna stop yelling that you were a spy. I mean, I'm gonna stop yelling.
All the birds just fly from the trees, like
Yeah.
when you shout that.
Are they birds or are they tiny humans?
Oh God.
Oh, no. All bats.
Bats. Thank you.
And yeah, I'm like, look, there's no one here to hear it. Like, you know, come on, we're all friends. We all know what the score is. But I'm sorry. I'll stop. And I know you told me to stop apologizing, and I'll stop apologizing for that thing that I said I wouldn't mention. I'm sorry.
I think at this point, Nella
oops.
walks over to the cooler filled with red wine and does a scoop, a teeny tiny scoop with her tiny little beak, and then gives Scooper a hug and goes back to smoking her cigarette.
Well, while we're hugging, Scooper will kind of whisper into Nella's ear, "I won't tell Bert about the scoop either."
Thanks, man. Thanks. Now give me the tenor clubs.
But I also think I say it loud enough that Bert hears.
I think I'm watching. I've just been
It's a
watching
small
you the
boat.
whole time. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so the tenor clubs goes over to Rachel.
Thank you.
I, in that moment, like, see you do the scoop, like, shake my head and groan, and then just say, "Can I get a draw of that fish?" And like, just like take the mackerel out of your feathers.
And the camera follows the mackerel across to Bert.
I love that.
And I'll draw the card then. And the card is 7 of Hearts. And Hearts is something that Scooper needs, right?
Spooner is only what my very, very close friends call me.
Would be a good name, or like a spoonbill.
Oh yeah.
Spooning leads to scooping.
That's a scooping.
Nice.
I have a question on here that says, "What treasured moment do you recall between you and one of the other birds?" And I would say that as I took that smoked mackerel from Nella, I think back to a moment in the middle of the revolution where things looked to be on our side, and we were making advances against the Empire, and we were both in a bar one night when a bunch of Empire grunts were in and started causing trouble for anyone who was wearing the insignia of the revolution, which we were all proud to wear. We weren't trying to hide it, because at this point it was very much just trying to put it front and center for people to know that.
I mean, I did not have that on. I was a spy.
yeah. But you were, well, I would say you were still there in in this space, and in this bar, I had like a little bit too much wine, and someone like pointed me out as like a leader of like a group of rebels, and the grunts came over and started to like just get into me, and normally I would handle this well, but not this night, and for some reason that we've never really fully dove into, you stepped in and stopped them before it got taken too far. And
Yeah.
in an alley behind the bar, gave me a cigarette. And this moment of getting the smoked fish like brings that memory flooding back.
Maybe did you stop the? Did you like intervene by like distracting them with music, or did
I
you
think
physically
so.
intervene, or what?
Or like,
I-
not in my club, kind of.
Calm down, boys.
Yeah. I think I was like, he's not worth it. Something like that. You know, going over and breaking the fight.
And then
being
you're out
like,
there
you
with
know,
sharing a cigarette, being like, "You're worth it."
yeah, exactly. You know, maybe there's some secret code word or something I say when I'm handing over the cigarette, so you know that I'm on your side. You know, and maybe that's when we like became friends, like, because it was like, right, okay, you know, even if shit's going down, we've got each other's back. Just don't blow my fucking cover, like Scooper.
Yeah, you got the most undercover and like one of the least undercover sharing a moment.
Yeah.
And for that, we swap one of my cards with yours. So I have the Queen of Clubs.
I'd love that.
Would you like to swap me the Queen of Spades?
I would indeed. Swapsy daisies.
Lovely. So I've got the spades. So I've got 7 of clubs, Queen of Spades, and 7 of hearts. For anyone who wants to keep track.
Literally, no one has drawn a diamond yet.
No,
No.
they're hiding in there.
They don't exist.
But they'll all start coming very quickly, I'd imagine, then, if they're not appearing yet. That brings us back to the top of the round.
Ooh.
Right, so I'm going to go... Well, I'm going to draw a card first. Now we have established that's how this works.
Mm-hmm.
The Jack of Clubs. I'm
coming for you, Alex.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Let's see what we got going on. Let's just stick with and we'll do one of the left-hand ones. So in order, what made you realize the society is broken and that a revolution was the only way to fix it? So I think when sort of we were just in the kind of precursor to the revolution, when sort of things were getting heated but like not erupted yet, I think some like officers of the Empire came with their like whatever the bird world equivalent of a Rolls Royce is to my mechanic, a Rolls Roller. There we go. And I was just sort of like, well, okay, like I'll fix it, but you're at the back of the queue. And then I just basically got beaten up and told that if I didn't do it now, there'll be worse coming.
Okay. And how did this kind of differ from like one of the other times then, where you said earlier that Bert stepped in?
I mean, I think that happened with Bert happened later.
Yeah.
And I think that has a bit of when we were at that point of the things, it's sort of like there was no kind of revolutionary movement, and it's sort of like that was the moment that just sort of like, and combined with like other things I'd seen, it's just like, no, this isn't a thing that one of us can solve alone. It's like a thing all of us need to come together for.
So did you make a movement to try and join?
Yeah.
Rebels at that point.
I mean, I think in this particular, like, I did fix the car, like, because like I was scared, and then I just sort of like sat up all night. I want to say like I probably heard like Scooper talking quite loudly, like like the local bar or something, and I just kind of like begrudgingly, like not begrudgingly, but sort of like, I think Bastian's quite a proud guy, not in that way.
Also, I guess because as Bastian, it sounds like Bastian didn't belong to a large workplace, and so
No.
like he wouldn't have met Scooper through Scooper's like principal organizing.
No.
But like maybe he hears Scooper at a bar, like browbeating a table full of workers and people trying to like he's basically propagandizing and organizing them, and Bastian kind of
it's like, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
You have my
wrench
mechanic shop. Yes.
Well, everyone's needing the revolution. We all gotta, we've all gotta do our part.
Okay.
Pass that wine.
I take a scoop, but not with my beak, with the mug.
Nice.
And as you pour it back, we come back into the normal, the modern day, as we draw a card. Jack of Spades.
Wait, whose card is that?
That is yours, Khalil.
That's mine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Spades is Bert's suit, right?
Yes.
Okay. Bert, and I kind of waddle over to the front of the boat where Bert is fishing, and I put my arm, wing over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But I know you like to have this whole like keeping your shit together type thing, your whole like, oh, I'm a seagull, or no,
That's
like
a different type of bird. I'm an osprey.
I'm really sorry, man. I wasn't brought up around raptors. I'm really sorry, man.
Okay.
But I know you got that whole kind of stoic vibe. But like, do you remember? Oh man, you remember back in Fleur 4? About like, 3/4 of the way through the revolution, like it just before things went to shit, and we just organized that army base, which was like, that was a big get, and I only managed to get them on side because you did that bare feather boxing match with their commander, and that really won their respect over. And I remember just seeing that happen and just being like, my bird. That was glorious. Like, you're not normally so calm and collected, but there's something switched in you, and I could see that the dog bird came out in you.
The bullfinch.
Yeah, like a pit bull finch.
Yeah.
XL birdie.
So this is me recalling a treasured memory between me and Bert.
I take a moment to just consider it and try to play it down. That was just what you had to do.
We cut to a little flashback, and there is like we're in like the parade square of a military base. It is snowing, not heavily, but just enough to be atmospheric. And there's like a circle of uniformed birds, all like hooting and cheering and cawing and like waving their wings up in the air as you like go talon to talon with this. It's like an eagle owl, one of the ones with the big eyebrows. And yeah, like it's kind of taking big lumbering swings at you, but you're like ducking out the way and like sweeping its leg with your talons and stuff. And then by the end of the fight, you're standing over this officer with your talons around its neck, but you haven't necessarily like dug in yet. There's just a moment of Bert standing over this owl, and I don't know whether you do or not, and I don't know whether we even see that in this flashback, but like that is the kind of the high energy, high octane moment that then cuts back to this like serene fishing trip.
And before it cuts back, I'd taken my top off, and so there's just like
weirdly muscly bird,
weirdly like abs, like tattoos on like either side of the chest. And yeah, with my talons, like the cool thing about ospreys is that they can turn their toes backwards. So you can have two at the front, two at the back, so it properly
shaking so much talon, I don't know how to act.
So like has a proper grip around the throat of eagle owl. And yeah, I don't think we see how it really ended.
In the background, at the edge of the circle, we see Scooper arm round one of the soldiers, like sharing a hip flask with this soldier, and like I've got my shirt open as well, but pelicans actually, what they have on their chest is a system of air sacs, which help to keep them buoyant and potentially cushion their landing when they hit the water, when they're because they're not very agile birds. So I guess I'm kind of like like drumming on my air sacked chest and passing this hip flask around and really kind of like riling everyone up. That's just like a little bit in the background over your shoulder as this shot just kind of back to the fishing trip.
Yeah, that was just what you did back then. Like there was nothing. That was just a Tuesday.
Oh yeah, there's no one as good at it as you though, but man,
you don't need to shout about it too much. Those days are past us, right? Like quiet fishing.
For now, I mean, you always got to be ready. We didn't think it was going to happen the first time.
As you say that, there's just like a shuffle in Bert, and you can tell that even though he's getting on a little bit, the abs are still there.
Yeah, like I've got my arm around him, and like I can feel it in my air sacs, just the raw muscle of Bert. I can feel it coming in the air sacs. Okay, no more singing. We'll get hit with a copyright strike.
I don't think anyone's trying to copyright that one.
Peter Gabriel, call me.
Yeah, Phil Collins and Peter Gabriel.
Oh, sorry, Phil Collins. Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like you like press against and are able to like feel that the abs are still there, and I hear like a gulp in the throat as you realise that he's still shredded.
Still got it. So let's swap cards.
You want the hearts?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the Jack of Spades.
Ooh.
And what heart do I get?
7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. Nice.
Jack of Spades. Okay. And you have the King of Spades, right, Rachel?
I do indeed.
Oh, I've got a Jack and a Queen. That's getting cool.
Yeah.
Ooh. So if you get 3 consecutive in your suit, do you get 2 fish?
Let me double check. I don't know.
It doesn't say, but I think we should allow it. 2 rolls.
You should 2 rolls. Let's say like two
okay.
rolls.
Like rolling with advantage or something.
Yeah. We'll do. Yeah, let's do advantage because I think that's one of those.
Well, what if you get one fish and then another fish like eating that fish?
Smoking it.
Fishception.
we've had this chat about bites of the past, and we come to Nella. Let's draw your card.
Ooh, Jack of Hearts. Okay, so there's one that says that we shuffle our cards, but did we just say we're going to swap
Swap them.
instead of that?
Yeah.
Then buckle up, Bert, because you and Nella had a romantic connection. I think that first night after you shared a cigarette, you know, the cigarette wasn't the only thing that burned that night. It was our passion for one another. You, the stoic fighter, Nella, the weird singer. And your rippling abs in the moonlight. I don't know why you're in the moonlight.
The only one who's actually seen them. No, well, I had my
Yes.
off earlier, but
Like, do you just
Yeah,
take your
exactly.
feathers off?
yeah, it's a like a feather suit. It's actually like a furry or a feathery.
Underneath, just like bald and plucked like a chicken in the supermarket,
Yeah.
but with abs,
a chicken or a turkey with abs. Lovely.
like a really cold himbo.
like
So-
dad, can you make sure I get a bit of the breast and like, well, as long as I get an ab.
Yes.
Look at the drumsticks on that.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, okay. So I think we met in that bar kind of scenario. And then the second part of the question is, do you still have feelings for them? And obviously, I just made that up. So I don't know if these feelings are requited or not. I think Nella probably does still have feelings for Bert, but with the fall of the rebellion, all this stuff, I think like her relationship with Bert represented a real like moment in time where anything felt possible. Like Bert was gonna like punch a hole through the fabric of the universe and just like pull a whole new like utopia through there. And obviously that didn't happen. So I think there's a lot of like hurt wrapped up in that, as well as like the care that she has for Bert as a friend. So I think probably when he whips his top off, she like winks at him, but then after he calms down a little bit, like she'll just like put her head on his shoulder, and just, I don't know, maybe she starts humming or something, gives him a little bit of the song he wanted, but not the whole thing.
Hurting for a Burton.
That went from beautiful to hurting for a Burton like that. Beautiful. That-
Well, yeah. Love is a many faceted thing.
one word isn't
Um,
enough.
Mhm.
I imagine in that moment that like Bert will, as always, just try to stay straight-faced and stoic. But if you were to look closely, there's like a slight little quiver around the beak as his mouth like kind of up ever so slightly.
Oh yeah. And I'd like to exchange.
Oh, I was going to say I hand the fish back to you.
Yeah, take a deep inhale of that smoked mackerel. I would like to exchange the King of Spades for the Seven of Clubs.
We can indeed do that.
And I think that means we both have fish on the hook. We both have something caught on the hook.
So I think mine will only take place when we get to my turn, but like for you, it will be yours. So, yeah, go ahead, roll your d6 and tell us what you get.
Okie dokie.
And is this like all the same suit?
Yeah, I've got the
yeah.
Queen of Clubs, the 10 of Clubs, and the 7 of Clubs,
Yeah, so not
and the Jack of Hearts.
just one regular roll.
So those get discarded now, basically.
Yes.
Yes.
So I rolled a 3, which means I get a small fry, 1 food.
One food. Okay. I'm gonna keep a tally of what our total food is. But,
Cool.
um,
I think as they share this like tender moment, Nella just feels like it all gets a bit too much and just dives into the sea and comes back up with a fish. plops it. I don't know. Do we have another cooler for fish
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
instead
Yeah,
of wine?
It's not going in the wine cooler. No.
She puts it in the fish cooler, kind of like ruffles her feathers a bit to dry off, and then lights another cigarette. Yeah.
And from the list of fish, if we're, I'd say, still in fairly fresh water, we'll move out into the seawater shortly. But that could be a bluegill, a pumpkin seed, or a dace. Which would you like it to be?
A pumpkin seed sounds adorable, and it's autumn. It's the vibe.
Pumpkin seed latte.
Yes, please.
Okay, that brings it back to Bert's turn. So I'll draw my card. Queen of Hearts. Make a note of that. Getting lots of the royal suits.
Still never had
Yeah.
a diamond.
Not a single diamond.
No.
Right. So the question that I'm going to come to here is, what incited you to offer the revolution your strength? And I think for Bert, this will have also been a kind of familial connection, in that after like fledging the nest, we'd still check in with mum and dad quite regularly, and Dad was very heavily involved in the revolutionary movement and did a lot of travelling. Would spend a lot of time at home during the summer and would go south the winter. We wouldn't see him all that often. But one year he didn't come back. He was meant to arrive, and we don't know for sure what happened, but there was talk that there was an ambush at a rendezvous point between members of the rebellion, and I've never been able to let that go. He was meant to come back, he didn't come back. It's their fault. So from there I offered up my strength, fought for the revolution. And I'm thinking about that whilst I've got Nella's head on my shoulder after she's jumped out of the water again, and just thinking about family and like looking at the three people that we're spending the day with on this boat, that family doesn't always need to be like that blood connection. Maybe it could be the family you pick up along the way.
I know you don't like to talk about it, you know, but like, let's be real. During the course of our, efforts, you got through your fair share of fashy tools, like your numbers are among the highest in the movement as a fighter. Do you ever wonder? Whether you might have got someone who got someone you care about? Odds are, there's only so many.
Well, I know I broke the legs of those pricks that bothered Bastion. So you're right that at some point there's always going to be someone that's hurt someone that I love, care about. But I try not to bother myself with thinking too much about anyone that I didn't manage to get payback for. Because there's bigger things going on than me.
Always. Well, there's not bigger guys than you, right? And like, hey, oh wow. Hey.
With that, I'll be like, if you want to take a scoop, take a quick scoop. Just film me.
I bring Bert into a deep, big hug, and I go, "I fucking love you, man." And I kind of, and as a sign of respect, Scooper does not take a full-sized scoop. Like he doesn't take a full because that would be most of the cooler. I think what he does is he respectfully removes his tobacco.
Thank you.
And then spits and mouthwashes with the rest of his glass. And then goes to take a massive scoop and then kind of stops himself and is like, "Oh no, yeah, family and it's who you choose and how you treat them and fuck, okay." And he takes a respectful size scoop. Winks, put his tobacco back in.
And as you take that scoop, I feel something on the end of my rod. And go back to it, start to reel in, and pulling out from the water I have a 4, so a big fish.
Yes.
So we gain 3 food. And I pull out this large blue catfish. Reel it in, hold it up to the rest of you and go, "Pretty decent, pretty decent." I mean, all on all of us for choosing the right spots, eh? And then I hit it over the head with a hammer. And throw it into the pot. So we're up to 4 hour food. And I will discard these spades. And we come back. Alex.
Okay, so as you well, first of all, can I draw a card? Yay!
Yay!
Yes!
2 of diamonds.
Diamond in the sky.
So as you hammer this catfish over the head, we do a sort of fading cut with another blunt implement impacting your head. And we are going to talk about what secrets did you keep from one of the other birds from the Rogu. And this is going to be actually a secret I kept from all of you, which I will just allocate the card later. But so there used to be during the revolution there was a bird that sort of was hanging around with us insofar as I mean, less so with Nella because the whole spy thing, but was known to us all and sort of was it part of our loose sort of cell, as it were. And his name was Johnny Woodcock, and he was a bit of a runner for the group, would take messages between everyone. And then one night when I was heading home, I caught him informing on us to some officers, and then that's where the hammering of the head comes in, and with just a tire iron out the back of his own street, and I told you he'd been picked up, and never seen again.
Damn.
Does anyone ever think back to Johnny Woodcock?
Would he?
Old rubber. Whoever had.
Yeah, didn't he get got? I mean, runners, it's an important job, but they don't have the longest life expectancy. Brave soul.
I just raise a glass and mutter, "Died for the cause."
Oh yeah,
that's
who knows? He could be
good.
still alive.
How are your cards looking?
I at this point draw another card for this thing,
Amazing.
and
Four
that is
spades.
the 4 of spades. So I'm going to give that to Bert. And I'm just going to say, with the justification that it's sort of like watching you fight had kind of given me the confidence to do it myself.
Sorry, just the idea you watch your friend fight, so you knew you could be a murderer.
Yeah. It's just yeah.
My public
I love
service
that.
announcement.
The real murder was inside us all along.
Yeah.
The real murder was the friends we made along the way.
Mhm. If you're a crow, that's true.
Scooper, you see Bart smash a fish over the head, throw it into the bucket, and Bastian looking on, just like full of memories. And we'll draw your card.
Yeah.
3 clubs.
3 clubs. Okay. I am going to I'm gonna describe a triumphant moment.
Ooh.
Yeah. No. I think one of the other birds saved my cloaca in the revolution. And I think that is Nella. I think Scooper was talking too much. He'd had a couple of drinks and he was talking too much. He was on a roll because he was in the club. He was where he was in Nella's club, and he was he was networking. And Nella, do you remember that time in the club when I just managed to get that entire dock workers union to stop feuding with the logistics union and actually unite and keep us supplied in the movement.
I do remember
And
that.
then everything went slightly blurry.
How drunk are you, by the way?
I don't know why my camera's gone. There we go.
Oh, then it just slaps you lightly.
oh, sorry, reveries. Remember, and I just got those 2 big unions, and so I was celebrating a job well done. And then I was chatting with someone at the bar, and then you came over and just kind of pulled me to the side, and somehow you knew that the person I was talking to was an informant. And this is before I knew you were a SPY.
You don't have to say the. Go on, continue.
Sorry, this is before I knew you.
Very good.
There we go. I'm getting better at this. And and you managed to get me out of that situation, and just as you hustled me out the back, a bunch of cops came in the front. How did you know they were coming?
Well, I was and
you're good at this.
Thank you very much. And I guess I kind of seen that guy, and even before I knew you, everyone knows you. You quite a big
scoop
presence. You got the scoop, exactly. And so I thought I'd gently usher you out before you ended up caught in a trap that you were definitely not anticipated, not after all of those glasses of red. So I
mean, it just pairs so well with fish.
I know it's really hard to resist,
right?
I don't know why you put a
fish,
bird
victory,
in a bar.
red wine.
There we go.
It's gonna happen. It's the trifecta.
Yeah.
But no, I know I've thanked you multiple times for it, but And I know you told me to stop thanking you for it, but I thank you. Thank you.
It's okay.
You were a really good. You were really good at what you did,
I appreciate that.
and
You too.
you saved my fucking cloaca out there, man.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have to see it, you know, when you fell on. But that's part of the job, I guess.
Hey, gravity's not always my friend. Sometimes you end up beak over air sack.
Indeed. Indeed.
So I'm gonna give you a card. I'm gonna give you. What was the card I just got? It was a club, right?
3 of clubs, yeah.
Yes, I will give that to you.
Thank you very much for your act of service.
I mean, it's the least I could do after, you know, stopping me becoming Pelican Stew.
I mean, that's basically cannibalism. Couldn't let that happen. The Empire's up to some fucked up shit.
Right? Soylent Green is birds!
They don't call it bird food for nothing.
Soylent Greenfinch.
How are your cards looking?
I have a 7 of hearts and a 4 of clubs.
Do you have a Jack of Spades?
Do I?
Not on my notes.
I had the Jack of Spades.
Mhm.
But that brings us to Nella.
I'd like to draw a card.
Mhm.
The Ace of Spades. He's taking spades. Oh
That's
my
me.
god, Bert. I feel like all I ever do is talk to Bert. So I'm not going to talk to Bert this turn.
But I think that makes sense.
I'm going to answer my second question, which is what caused you to see through the facade of society and become a spy for the rebellion? And each of these playbooks has a real life bird fact, and mine is so depressing. My real life bird fact for the cormorant is in some cultures, cormorants are trained by fishermen to fish for them. A rope is tied around each cormorant's neck so that big fish cannot be swallowed and have to be regurgitated for the fishermen. The cormorant is rewarded small fry for their effort. So these guys are basically
No wonder the fucking
getting...
revolution happened.
Exactly. So I think Nella's job playing on this fact was to fish. And yeah, obviously every day she'd bring in a massive haul and get given only the small fry to take home and sustain herself. So she knew how much capital she was earning for the empire and how little people had to survive on. So I think that going through that by day and then by night being brought into these clubs to see all the, you know, higher ups drinking and dancing and, you know, having more than they need was more than enough to revolutionize her. And I think one day, you know, the fishing boat broke down and maybe she saw Bastian and their crew of mechanics come to fix the boat with that little pin, that little revolutionary pin just glinting, and that's when it all kind of came together for her. Yeah, I think I just keep the cards and move on, right? So just so everyone knows, I've got the Jack of Hearts, the 3 of Clubs, and the Ace of Spades. So if anyone wants any of those, they are up for grabs.
Cool. Right, that comes to Michael. Jack of Diamonds.
We got a diamond, people.
That's a
Diamond.
Bastian, right? What, diamonds?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's almost enough on the table for me to do something with.
Okay. Looking over at Bastian after like hitting that hammer onto that fish and thinking about things from the past, and Bastian having told me in the past as well that knowing about what I had done had inspired them to be able to feel like they could handle themselves in situations that called for it, will also remind me of secret that I kept from Bastian for their own good. on looking around for anyone else who could be involved in providing information to the Empire after the situation with Johnny Woodcock, information came to light about Bastian's father having been an informant to the Empire. And one day, Bastian's father just never came home from work. And Bastian, knowing about my relationship with a father who just never came home, I imagine you probably came in, like, talked to me about it.
Yeah.
And I had to... I'm pretty good at keeping a straight face, but I had to work really hard in this situation to keep that straight face. So I would draw another card and then decide whether to keep it or give it to you. I will give it to you.
Oh.
The 8 of diamonds.
So I was going to say thank you, but it doesn't feel really appropriate in this situation.
Does giving the card mean you give the secret, or do you still keep the secret?
I feel like maybe in this occasion that I would bring it up then.
Now on our fishing trip.
Maybe not like fully explicitly, but like it's good being out here on the water with all of you. Makes me happy. I don't often say that.
Brings it to gentler times, if we ever had those.
Okay.
So as I was saying to my dad the other day,
yeah, time spent with family are always gentler times. Yeah, Bastian, that you should. Now that things have kind of calmed down a little, you should probably have another closer look into what happened with Father. It might not be completely what it seems, though.
You know, I've been putting off doing it, to be honest. It's whatever I find, like, I have to ask myself whether I want to know it. Either like nobody had a nice end during that time.
No. But that's your decision to make. I will just like down a glass of wine and scoop.
I pull out a little hip flask that I've been hiding from Scooper, and just take a swig from that.
In which case, we'll get a card for you. Yay! 7 of diamonds.
rewarding trauma with fish.
Yeah, that's how that works, right? Do I summon the fish now or after we've done the thing?
End of turn, I think.
End of
Okay.
turn.
Okay.
Summon the fish is a great way to describe it. Catch them.
So I'm going to go down the main list, the left-hand list, and I'm going to describe a triumphant moment you had in the revolution. And I'm going to go back to a thing that Scooper brought up earlier about the can factory, because I think that was one of the sort of most influential things I had in converting that into something a bit more offensive. Like, you had this resource and I was able to utilize it in more explosive ways.
Yeah, and we get like a little flashback, and I think maybe there's Scooper and Bastian like maybe on like a rooftop or a hillside or something, each looking through one side of a pair of binoculars at a military convoy that's like full of like, like military police vehicles that are about to go and like raid a town full of resistance members. And maybe Bastion is going 3, 2, 1, and then like we see it first through each of side of the binoculars, like this like puff of like this cloud of debris just appears, and then like half a second later we hear boom! And we go, Scooper goes, fucking hell, Bastion. It's what I call direct action.
I mean, you can do some interesting things with guano.
I knew there was a reason I've been saving it. Don't call me Pooper Scooper for nothing. And then the flashback cuts back.
Why is Pooper Scooper giving me such like rusty? What's it, rusty bucket or crusty bucket?
Rusty bucket. I've got to be careful, otherwise I'll get typecast as these people.
So you roll on the table then.
Yes. So that's a D6. Come on, decent fish. 1.
So 1 is some junk. So it's
one of the tin
imagine
cans.
It's a tin can.
Yeah.
With a little bit of guano in it.
Yeah.
Bastion looks wistfully at the horizon.
Yeah.
And
All right,
next
card me.
8
of clubs. Okay. I'm pretty sure that Nella caused me some distress in the past. I think we flash back to the alley out back of the club, which is the same place that Nella and Bert had that first kind of connection. With Nella kind of dabbing Bert's cuts and bruises and stuff. And with Nella hustling Scooper out the back of the bar, I think Scooper feels a great surge of like gratitude and like affection. And I think in the moment misinterprets that as like, is this maybe a moment of romantic connection? And is rebuffed by Nella.
Ooh. Oh, that's good. I just imagine him be like, "Thank you for saving me," leaning in, and she just like
slowly leans in.
Also, because you leaning in is like a meter away.
Yeah, you just think yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's stupid of me. Yeah. Sorry. What was I thinking? Of course, you're, you and I'm this. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I owe you one. But not like that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
Please stop thanking me.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
And I think this, I think to Nella, it might have been a bit of a kind of like, that was a bit uncomfortable, but I think we sorted it. I think to Scooper, he doesn't like begrudge Nella that at all. I think it's much more that it feeds into a self-loathing that he has, because pelicans are kind of goofy looking animals. And he has always felt like a goofy looking animal, and he kind of plays into that, and that's part of his like charisma and how he gets people on side. He's Scooper, hey, Pooper Scooper, hey. But he, at that moment where he thought that there was a romantic connection, and to have that shattered, very legitimately, but Scooper, I think, internalized that rather than externalizing that.
Mm. Oh, now I feel really bad for Scooper. I didn't mean to do it, bro. You just
Scooper missed with the moment.
Yeah,
Scooper
the
misread the
throuch.
moment.
The throuch
Yeah.
threw me off.
So I'm going to take one of your cards.
Yikes. A jack of hearts.
And yes, suitably, it's the Jack of Hearts.
It really is suitable, isn't it?
And how does that put your cards?
I have the Seven of Hearts and the Jack of Hearts. And a couple of club cards. Not Tesco.
Okay, so Nella will draw a card. Boom.
Oh, nice.
6 of clubs.
6 of clubs, 6 of clubs. I feel like... Okay. I'm trying to spice it up, you know, trying to do something new, trying to... I
Well,
want to do this.
You can spice it up with the story itself.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. But then I want us to also get more fish. But maybe I'm focusing too much on that as a mechanic, and I should just enjoy the storytelling. Oh, Khalil's gone fishing.
Khalil's got
There's
his
a little
night
man in
gone
his box fishing. Okay. I think. Right, I'm gonna have a treasured moment. So I think, despite all of the ups and the downs, Nella and Scooper have a lot of treasured moments together. That mostly kind of link back to Nella watching Scooper's antics in the club. Like, he's on demon time every time he's in there.
Also,
because I
I
think there's a
think
part of her that just loves it.
I think it's a mixture of that. I think maybe it evolved into that, but I think it started off as a professional gratitude because Scooper is a great diversion. Like, no one's paying attention to Nella if Scooper's in the room. And then I think it started off as a kind of like, oh, this fucking clown, at least he's useful. And then it kind of became a begrudging, like, I mean, he is kind of jokes. And then it kind of evolved into a more of a friendship.
I think what happened is that one night Scooper got really, really drunk and got on stage and started singing with Nella. But it turns out, because of his throat pouch, he actually has a wonderful and weird singing voice that she just did
like
not expect at all. Yeah, exactly. And it actually went really well. And the crowd like loved it. And it was just this moment of like, you know, Nella being a spy, so being that kind of empire face, but also with someone who's very obviously part of the rebellion. And I think just, you know, everyone there who's just like a working person, like no matter kind of which side they were falling on, just had like a real moment of connection. So I think that's the treasured memory that Nella has with Scooper.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And I will swap the shame, your hearts, aren't you? I don't have anything to help you, but I will
if
take
you have
I've got a 3 and then you're nearly 3 in a row.
I can give you the 8 of clubs.
Sorry,
I can give you the eight of if you have a 3,
I need, if I keep the 3, if I give you the ace of spades, then I have a fish.
Okay, sure, do that. Yeah. So do you want the 4 of clubs or the 8 of clubs?
I don't mind. I'll take the 4.
I'll give you the 4.
You've got 7 and 8 there.
Yeah. And I've got the ace of
spades.
That's the song that Scooper sang.
That classical blues/jazz song.
It was a remix. It was a cover.
It's by Motorbill.
Very good. So yeah, with that, I've got something caught on the hook.
Oh yes. Let's hope for a big one.
It's a 3 again. A
3.
small fry.
We've got a small fry. So another 1. We're up to 5 food.
Uh-oh.
Nella, I don't want a backseat fish. But
Yeah.
have you considered taking off that rope?
Oh, fuck. I've still got this thing on. Sorry, I had a long day at work. I just wasn't thinking. And she just like tosses it onto the floor.
So, who has spades in their hands?
I have a 6 of spades.
I have an ace.
Okay, cool. I think then that one of the other birds caused you great distress.
Scooper.
I was just going to say that.
Well, I was gonna go with Skipper because I think that Scooper is like a person who likes to talk about their friends and how they are so great at what they do. And there was one time that Scooper mouthed off about how good in a fight for it.
My mate can beat up your mate.
And it was the wrong person to bring this up with.
It was an ostrich.
Or like a cassowary, maybe.
Yeah, it was a cassowary. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
emu. They famously won the emu war.
Oh, oh no. Oh no.
Just like a veteran.
A veteran of the emu
veteran.
wars, like a scar over one eye,
Like, riddled with bullets.
bit of a limp.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go Google the Great Emu War of Australia.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant story.
Yes.
Yeah, you got me into a fight with an emu, which was a little bit more than I could handle. And like every day I just like have a little bit of stiffness in my side from where I got kicked and left with like quite a hefty and deep scar.
We flash back, and it is Bert, like lying. It's a bird's eye view, and it's looking up, and you just see like this like looming emu head come into focus. And no, it's looking up, as in Bert is on his back. He's been knocked on his ass on the ground, and the emu's just leaning over him, and he goes, "Seems like you picked off more than you can regurgitate for your young." And then you just limps away.
Veterans are the fucking worst. And I'm gonna take your ace of spades.
Go ahead.
Okay, in terms of timing, I think we can get one last round of fishing in and see if we can get any more fish. But we currently have 5, which is like a meager meal. But let's see what we can do.
Okay.
Bastian.
But looking at the rules, sorry, as we're talking about the rules, it says for a 4-player game, 20 food is required for a fulfilling meal. So
We got a snack.
we're dying. Yeah, exactly.
We'll be eating that cheese and
Brunch.
Mhm.
I mean, we're all on a liquid diet today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 2 of clubs. for
2 of
Bastian.
clubs. Okay. Let's have a look. So I can't get to the catch something on a fishing table in one round, so let's go for a treasured moment. I don't think I've done anything with Nella yet, so let's.
I don't have any cards to swap with you, but sure.
Yeah, that's fine. You can just have this club.
Thank you.
Wait.
It's a flute.
Yeah. So I think so from what you were saying earlier, like you saw me with my like badge, and that was one of the kind of earliest sort of interactions. And I think like we probably were sort of one of some of like the earlier kind of like confidants of the group, just like we both kind of had this kind of hard working life, and just like I think like after you'd finish work at the club, you'd like come like down to like the little bar on the corner, and we'd just sort of like vent our frustrations at each other.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it was sort of like perhaps I like dropped a few hints as like, well, like you could give us some like really juicy tidbits, I bet, from what you overhear at the club.
Yeah, and I think probably like there was a little bit of hesitation at first, but I think I kind of warmed up to you over that evening, and maybe by the end we're just spilling the tea.
Scooping the tea.
Yeah. So have a whatever clubs I just had.
2 with clubs, I think.
I think it might have been.
Thank
Yeah, it was
you.
2. Yeah.
Much appreciated, Bastion.
All right, card me.
King of
Ooh.
Clubs.
King of Clubs. I mean, that's what Scooper felt like after singing Ace of Spades.
The king of clubs.
Okay. I think that we flash back to that moment between Bastion and Scooper where they're looking at their IED go off, blowing up that military convoy. And, you know, Scooper is like bigging up Bastion because he's, you know, this is Bastion's first major, like, you know, violent direct action that Bastion's been part of. Yes. And Scooper wants to keep Bastion like enthused and on side. But what Scooper isn't telling Bastion is that actually that wasn't one of Bastion's bombs. Like Bastion had, you know, yeah, because it was the first time Bastion had made a bomb. Scooper had got one of the other bomb makers to look at it, and apparently it was shit. And it was like it wasn't very powerful, and it would have been unsafe to like for someone to plant because, you know, they might have gone off in their face. And so they'd swapped it out for one made by a more experienced bomb maker. But Scooper didn't tell Bastion because, you know, he wanted Bastion to feel like he'd done something and to then be inspired to do more. Because Scooper could see potential in Bastion. He knew Bastion's a very skilled engineer, just not a very experienced bomb maker yet. Later on in the revolution, Bastion made some incredible bombs. Bastion innovated bombs.
I think to some degree it's also that Bastion was at a point where it's like he was not there's like committed, but not like committed. So
Yeah.
just like so I don't want something that's going to do too much damage, and so like intentionally kind of perhaps even subconsciously just like scaled it down like a bit.
And so Bastion must have been pretty shocked when he saw it go like and take out a whole convoy.
Yeah, and like I think that sort of weird mix is just like, oh whoa, like even like when I intentionally dial it back, I can do something like that. There's
Yeah, like 60% power. Oh my god! Yeah, very anime. So by
9,000 pounds of guano.
Oh, God. That's like half my collection. So by keeping that secret from Bastion, I draw another card and I decide whether to give it to Bastion or to keep it for myself.
These people are lying to Bastion.
Yeah.
8 of Spades.
I am going to keep it. I'm not going to tell Bastion. It would break his little heart. The 8 of Spades. Yeah, cool. That's me. Moving on.
Okay. Draw a card.
So I have. If anyone has a 6, a 9, or a heart, I would appreciate it.
Does Sam still have a heart?
I have a heart. I have the Queen of Hearts.
I don't have any of those, but first of all, I want to ask a question. So the real rule for the one that we're not doing is shuffle your cards and theirs together and distribute them evenly between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So would you allow it if instead of shuffling, we just chose which ones we exchanged? Because it's the last round. We want to get some fish.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
In that case, Scooper, you and Nella did actually have a romantic relationship before the revolution. When you were younger, you know, you had a summer of love. Maybe you were like 18 or so, and you thought maybe, you know, this is it. This is adulthood. Like, this is the relationship that is going to, you know, continue with me for the rest of my life. But then over time, I think Nella realized that maybe the kind of like class clown, like brash guy was not the one that she wanted to
Take on to her parents.
Commit to. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Also, maybe during that period, Nella like kind of like went through one of those like real blossoming phases, and so when they started, they were both kind of like slightly kind of gangly, awkward teenagers, and then like by the end, Nella had become this like glamorous young woman, and Scooper was still
In a full
Scooper.
plumage.
Yeah, I think Nella was also like, you know, that weird voice and all those things she probably had like a bit of self-loathing for and didn't fully own. But then once she saw like it could actually be used in a certain way, then she accepted them in a way that she saw Scooper wasn't quite able to do about with things of his own. So she doesn't have romantic feelings anymore. She wouldn't see that relationship continuing, but she does care a lot about him and enjoys his silly antics a lot and loves spending time with him, but just has realized that he just wasn't the one.
Yeah. I think Scooper had not fully dealt with that. I think he had kind of just healthily suppressed it. And then in that moment in the alley years later, he allowed himself to open up that box slightly and then realized that, oh God, Pandora's box, it's full of trauma.
Which is why it hurt even more.
Yeah. So, okay, so I can give you the King of Clubs and the Eight of Clubs.
Yeah. And then do you need spades or...
If you have a 6, a 9, or a heart.
I do
not. Do you have a heart, Nella? Do you?
No. No, I don't. Scooper is the canon reason why Nella now goes for the strong and silent type. Scoop, I'm going to give you the 7 of spades. That's the best I can do. And now I could go fishing. Thank you for your service.
Did you get that 7 of spades as well? Sorry, just like the one that we drew.
So,
did you take that 7 of spades on the that was drawn on the?
Yeah, and I just gave it to
That's
Killer.
what you gave it. Cool.
Yeah. So I've got the 2 of clubs, the 8 of clubs, and the King of clubs. So I'm gonna roll for fishing. Come on, baby. Come on. Can I roll it again?
What'd you get?
It's a 1. It's a 1. Aww,
okay, so maybe maybe you get something that reminds you of that time. So, like a discarded retainer for a beak.
I think just as I think just as I go to dive over, like out of the corner of my eye, I catch Scooper doing like, I don't know, some like goofy thing that he's done since he was a teenager, where he was like like just doing some stupid walk,
like putting the entire like literal wine bottle in his mouth. It's a trick where you can put a wine bottle in his mouth, open it, drink it, and then pull out an empty wine bottle
with the cork.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, like a cartoon fish skeleton from a cat, you know.
Yeah, and I kind of like try to do a double take, but just fall over the edge of the boat. I'm so humiliated. I just like crawl back up, sit down, ruffle my feathers, light another cigarette.
We're trying our best. Like whatever's coming, like they're just not biting today.
No.
Maybe they're on strike.
You never know. Maybe.
I can respect that.
I don't know if the fish in you now. Last card draw. 6 of diamond. 6 of diamond. Okay.
If Bastion doesn't have enough diamonds to use it, I could use a 6.
I do not have any diamonds, so
Just, like struggles so much with these diamonds today.
I mean, to be fair, there's hardly been any hearts either. So
True.
Two things that's rarest in this world, you know, diamonds and a real good heart.
Why are you looking at
lots of
me?
spades and clubs, because we live in a world of revolution.
What cards does everyone have? Just so I know what we've got here.
None.
None.
I have the 2 and the jack of clubs and the 6 of spades.
Okay.
Does someone not have the ace of hearts?
Nope.
You have the jack of hearts.
Okay, I wrote something down wrong then.
No,
So I have the
I had the ace of spades and that's gone.
Okay, I have 7 of spades, 7 of hearts, 8 of spades, jack of hearts.
Yeah, I might have the ace of hearts if I.
So a 6, a 9, or a heart would be peachy. A 6, a 9, or a heart. I'll take either at this point. Oh god, beak to cloaca. Oh god. Okay, so on the subject of beak to cloaca, I remember one of the most harrowing things I've ever seen in a nature documentary. It was they were talking about some kind of passerine bird, like a dunnock or something. I can't remember. And they were talking about the fact that females will often mate with multiple males, and like to A, you know, try and get the best mate they can, and B, all of the males will provide food to the female based on the ratio of how much sex they had with her. So like the more sex they've had with her, the more food they'll bring, because it corresponds roughly to the likelihood that they're the dad. To try and maximize the, you're smiling, Rachel. This is not gonna continue.
I'm just trying to get ideas, but continue.
wait till the end. Hear me out. So to try and maximize the chance of them being the chick daddy, males will sometimes, before copulating with the female, will peck at her cloaca to incite her to clench and expel some of the previous male's leavings.
It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it.
I told you it wasn't going anywhere good.
No teeth, no teeth.
I mean, I don't want to kink shame, like, but you know.
On a night in the bar, which we haven't given a name, but it always seems to be the same bar.
Yes.
It's called the Perch.
The Perch.
Ooh,
I like
that's
it.
good. That's
Which could
It's a bird
be
and a
like
fish.
A bird and a fish. Yeah.
Mm.
I had a little bit too much wine and stumbled out like the side door into the alley, where I watched a large pelican beak be rebuffed, and watched as Nella stormed off and stepped in, and Bert and Scooper had like one night that neither of them will ever really talk about.
You got scooped.
Yeah,
in the cloaca.
a little pecking.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't say that they're like, it was probably one of those nights where like neither of us had a very nice time. There's no
and both of us were very drunk, but like Scooper was in that kind of like emotionally vulnerable drunk, and Bert was in the kind of drunk where it's like, I know what will help this. This idea I've had is the best idea I've ever had.
And so there's no residual feelings there. But occasionally we'll just like have like a little flashback and go, oh, and repress that.
Yeah, so we flash back to earlier in this story when like we were reminiscing about that time you fought that owl, and I'm like, oh wow, and I feel the muscles under the feathers again. I think that is an example of one of those moments where Scooper kind of like, you see his feathers like puff up again.
And so swap any cards that we would like to. So
Okay.
I have a 6 of diamonds.
That would be great. Would you like the 7 of spades?
I would. And that should allow me
You're both fishing.
So I've got on my card that you have the 7 and Queen of Hearts, Sam.
I've
Nope.
like given away the 7 of hearts. I've got the Queen of hearts.
No,
But
so
yeah,
you can't win Scooper out that way.
I can't win hearts.
No.
But I can roll.
And being as this is the last turn of the game, do I get to roll as well?
I was gonna say I think we should like let any full
Yeah.
hands roll again if it's available, which is lovely because that's a 6.
Yeah. It's a what?
Yeah.
Sorry?
A 6. So
You
it's
reeled in a big
Perfect.
one that night.
a
Perfect.
6.
Mm.
So we kind of at this point of like parked out on the boat into more of the sea area, and if it's a big fish, we are gonna have. I'm gonna say that we've landed a swordfish.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
Well, so it took me a moment.
I mean, at least it
Of
wasn't
the
a battle.
revolution, obviously. Get your mind out the cloaca.
That doesn't even follow the pattern of it.
Oh yeah, true.
I call mine the gutter, so
And does that mean we have one more hand available?
So I have a full hand, yeah.
Yeah.
So by this point, Scooper has finally got round to like getting some bait on his hook, and has kind of thrown it in, and is finally paying attention to it. And I get a 5.
Amazing. So you got a big fish. There's 3 food. For a big fish, it could be like a
Is it
big old mackerel, sea bass, a flounder, haddock.
I think it
A
would be
gulper.
on brand for it to be a flounder. I think Scooper is missing, and Scooper, I think, flounders quite a lot, and one of the things that he values the most about this group of friends is that they anchor him in both shared trauma and also found family.
anchor. That's so good.
You pull this flounder on, this big old flatfish, hold it up, we all look and smile, and then we hear like the tooting of a horn. And as we all spin round, we see the Empire's secret police heading straight for us at high speed. What do we
Fuck!
all do?
Make a bomb.
I think Scooper, starts making a bomb by releasing a small amount of guano. I think Scooper immediately starts trying to start the engine badly, like fuck.
So, according to the Wildlife Trust, the cormorant is a large shiny black bird with a white patch on the thigh during the summer breeding season. So I think I'm going to interpret that as saying that Nella has a gun, and Nella's going to pull the gun that is strapped to her.
Oh, in like a
thigh,
garter.
just aim it at the boat, yeah, and start shooting.
And Bastion?
Oh, I was going to say at the bottom of my bag, I do always keep just a little tin can.
Fuck yeah.
For old time's sake.
Yeah, there's just. I don't want to vanish. I want to go out with a bang.
And are you gonna like try and get on the other boat then?
I was going to leave that up to like fade into just like reach the hand reaching down for it.
And yeah, I guess Bert then will just like look at everybody and say, "I've really enjoyed the time we spent together." As you reach for the bomb, Nella is firing off a gun. Gooper takes a big scoop, does his shit, and we fade to black.
Amazing.
And that was me,
Wow.
Fish, in interesting times. Very interesting times.
I did not anticipate some of those like later weavings that happened, man. That was amazing.
That was really cool.
Thank you all. I really enjoyed playing that game with you all.
Well done,
Yeah.
Carol Wu and W.H. Arthur, man. That's a great game.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really
Love it.
fun game.
And the
Folks,
art is so beautiful as
Ah.
well.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't already got it, we'll be dropping it into the Twitch chat or the YouTube cards to go and get yourself a copy. It's available on DriveThruRPG. I have a lovely zine copy of it over there. It's so nice. But yeah, thank you so much to all my players for coming and playing as part of that game.
Thanks for suggesting it and running it, Sam.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
really enjoyed it. Really wanted to play it ever since I got it. A reminder for if you're watching along at home that we will be back this Friday with the Fall of the House of Undoing, our Anik Poison Garden collaboration D&D one-shot, which is sure to be an absolute riot. And yeah, we'll be back with another game next week. But for now, take care. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all again very soon.
Vive la Revolution.
Yeah.